Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen news. We have disappointments with Alpha 3.9.0 now having the Idris Mission Delayed. There were some new features added to the roadmap too though, some of them were pretty cool, and we get to see the Mercury StarRunner in WhiteBox this week. I'll also give you a quick summary of the other Star Citizen news from the week ending the 5th of April 2020. There are some delays and disappointments with Alpha 3.9.0's branch already. Some of them are pretty understandable with the global situation at the moment and CIG working from home. Others are a little frustrating, at least for me. At time of writing, we still don't have 3.9 to a wider PTU release. It's with the EVOCATI still. There's constantly rumours of the 3.9 build being almost ready to go to the wider PTU, but that is not the case currently, obviously. Otherwise, we'd have it in our hands. Maybe by the time this video goes out, we will. But maybe it'll be another week. We don't know. But there's also been some features pushed back that have caused me some confusion, at least. The M50 updates are being pushed back to 4.0, with CIG saying, while the M50 improvements are looking really good, we've made the call to hold this update back to ensure the changes meet our high standards. As a result, the card is being moved to the 4.0 release. So yeah, I think the actual M50 is getting a bit more of an update than I had originally thought it was. I think it's being brought in line with the new sort of like 300 series and Origin ships. So looking forward to that actually. However, the Arlington Bounty mission, the Idris fight mission, the last one of that chain, is also getting pushed back to 4.0. And CIG had previously said, bam, we're going to have the Idris fight and the Idris in 3.9, and they showed some bits off about it, but now they've decided to push it back, and it's caused me a bit of confusion. So CIG have said, as you may be aware, we've been testing the Idris battle with our EVOCATI test group. Through these tests, we've discovered that the mission didn't feel as good as we wanted it to. Therefore, we'd like to take a bit more time ensuring battling an Idris for the first time feels great. For these reasons, we've moved it to 4.0. I don't think players would have minded if the mission was broken or only worked some of the time, or the Idris was derpy or nearly unkillable. I think CIG should have put it in 3.9.0 unless it was causing big stability issues for the patch. I am not a fan of the erratic, semi-polished mindset of some of the stuff they do for live builds. It doesn't make much sense to me. So if it's a first iteration for something that they know it is going to change and evolve a lot, then just put it in game as is. It's not as if they know it's going to be like this is the final Idris fight. It doesn't have interior. It was only being put there as a thing to test. Now, there might be other reasons going on why this is pushed back as well, and that is just sort of like my hot take. But if it's in testing for a EVOCATI patch anyway, if it's already in the 3.9 branch, either it's in testing or super buggy or whatever, why not just put it in? It's already been made up to a certain state anyway, and even if it's not as great as they wanted it to be, well, it doesn't matter because it's going to change a load anyway. Yeah, as I said, that's just my hot take. I think I may also be annoyed that I can't do any content on that mission, even though I may have played it in EVOCATI due to NDAs. I think that's extra annoyance. It's not all pissing and moaning by me though. There are some welcome additions to the roadmap as well. The contacts list refactor, friends list unification is a feature we know they've been working on for 3.9, and they've sort of like now added it to the roadmap for 3.9. They've created a single friends contact service that both Spectrum and in-game can pull from in order to display a character's contacts and friends list. This will allow for things such as pending friend and party invites, as well as visibility to whether players are online or not. The front-end UI will be rebuilt using the new building blocks tech, which will allow a future expansion of that functionality. Additionally, the main goal is to allow for easier player-to-player connectivity within the Star Citizen universe. By converting this into a unified service, it will also lay the framework to create better lobby functionality in the future for all game modes, with the initial focus being with connecting to other players in the persistent universe. So very much looking forward to that. More playable Star Citizen is best playable Star Citizen. Space Station! So refinery decks for space stations have been added to the roadmap for Alpha 4.1, the Q3 2020 patch. Refinery decks are dedicated areas in rest stops that serve as mining hubs, where the player can drop off mined materials to be refined, pick up missions, or buy new equipment for mining. So this feature and expansion to modular space stations in addition to cargo decks should see a lot more economic gameplay and things like that to do in the verse, as well as more focused space stations for those mechanics. But the ability to go to a space station that allows you to refine your materials to then take those materials somewhere else, and there's going to be times and fees associated with that. It's probably going to be refinery decks and refinery stations are probably going to be the only place that you are able to take things like Quantanium, because obviously they're a dangerous material. You don't want them around civilian ports, that sort of stuff. So I really like the idea for this, and I'm very much looking forward to cargo decks and refinery decks and those sort of like evolved stations and points of interest. Grimhex improvements are being made for 4.0, so this is the Q2 2020 patch. They are finalising Grimhex, making it a complete landing zone. The main changes are going to include new utilitarian hangars accessible by the main hub, a scramble race feature, and additional content. They're sort of like finishing off Grimhex so it is appropriate for a more complete Stanton system, because the Stanton system does appear to be looking more complete this year, and hopefully it will finish the year by being pretty much complete. Getting Grimhex into a functional state seems sensible, especially for outlaw gameplay and that sort of stuff being more viable. Very much looking forward to the sort of scramble ship race that they previously talked about as well, sort of like zipping around asteroids and shooting each other in ships. That scramble race, hopefully that'll be a lot more popular than the ground scramble races. We did get a sneak peek at the Mercury StarRunner in its white box as well. The ship looks much larger than I had originally envisioned. The ship is currently planned for Alpha 4.1, and I hope that 4.1 might actually see some more data running based mechanics and sort of like that sort of stuff. More cargo types, that sort of thing, because we do have those cargo decks and refinery decks, and it looks like they are gearing gameplay towards that potentially for 4.1. The Mercury StarRunner is one of the most anticipated ships for Star Citizen, being a data and cargo runner, and very good as a multi-role mission ship potentially for a small group, or as a smuggler's pride. There was a question as well that I saw in the Spectrum thread, a question asking Star Citizen devs, are you able to let us log back into another person's ship, even if they're not logged in yet? So eventually, obviously, that will be a thing, but in the short term, not so much. CIG's Chad McKinney replied, right now, no. There's too many corner cases to account for, and it would tie up resources from working on larger features coming down the pipeline. After we've gotten server-side object container streaming, global persistence, and ideally server meshing nailed down, we can revisit things like this to see what the ramifications would be. In general, we need to rethink some key behaviors in the full global persistence and server meshing version of the game, and spawning is going to be a thing that definitely will have some new considerations. This extends beyond ships, but to things like HABs, corpses, items, and the ideas from Death of a Spaceman, and generally how they're going to sort of like drive the economy and risk and reward, all that sort of jazz. RSI subscribers can take any of the Avengers out during April. The Avenger Titan, Stalker, and Warlock are available to them. In Star Citizen Live this week, art director Paul Jones showed this sort of like process of how they develop some key art stuff that accompanies concept ships and concepts of like locations. They created a scene dropping in art of ships and a city backdrop to aid in concept art and promotions for ships and general game direction inspiration. The Idris as well as the Ares seem to be the main focus of the sort of like concept stuff they did, and a cool city backdrop, which doesn't really represent any city in game. It's sort of a concept. For April Fool's, CIG put out an article saying they were converting the game over to a flat moon and planet system. It was a silly but appropriate joke. I did very much like the accompanying flat artwork for those planets. They were very cool. CIG highlighted a mining yield calculator made by TRFF in their newsletter, which I'll link down below. Hopefully it will see some updates for 3.9 and future builds as well. You can use it to work out the monies you can make from mining in your prospector or mole. Very useful. We also have the monthly report out, or reports for Squadron 42 and the Persistent Universe. I've covered the Persistent Universe one already, which I recommend you watch, as it covers a lot of stuff that CIG have been working on and are working on now. I'll cover the Squadron 42-centric one on Sunday, at least that's my plan, so look out for those. But what do you think? Rate your disappointment between 1 and 10 for the Idris mission being pushed back. 1 being you don't mind at all, and 10 being this is worse than being locked down. I am at a 6.5, I think. Do you think that 3.9.0 will be going to first wave PTU anytime soon, or do you think there are too many blockers making that unlikely? Are you hyped for features in 4.1? Do you think the Mercury StarRunner and the Space Station additions in gameplay will slip? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. For April, we are giving away a Cutlass Black and Star Citizen game package. Just comment on any of my videos made during this month of April to be in for a chance of winning that. I am a shill for a couple of companies, NordVPN and NordPass. If you are looking for a VPN or a password management system, I recommend you check them out. They've got many benefits over free services, and as I'm pretty security conscious, I love those kind of services. Also, there's Shadow. If you are thinking about getting a new gaming rig or upgrading your gaming PC for Star Citizen or whatever, then consider Shadow instead. It is a internet cloud-based subscription service like Stadia, like GeForce Now, but this one gives you access to a full Windows 10 environment which is fully customizable, and that is significantly better in my opinion, allowing you to do a lot more with it. Check out the links below for them or use the code BoredGamer for discount. Also, if you wish to support the channel further, there is Patreon, there's the YouTube join member button down below. That really helps. This is a community supported channel and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the support that I get. If you want to share these videos, if you want to comment, give feedback, whatever, that is also hugely appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, guys. You take care and I'll see you in the verse.